Have you ever stopped to think about the sheer volume of waste, not just, around our buildings, but actually generated by them every single day?
It's pretty staggering when you consider it.
Yeah, everything from like the packaging on a new office chair to the leftovers from lunch,
Hmm.
it all adds up. And most of it just heads straight to landfill.
Right. Huge amount.
But what if I told you we're starting to tackle this, like really tackle it head on, not as an afterthought, but actually weaving solutions into the design right from the start?
Building it in before the first brick is even laid, essentially.
Exactly. So today we're taking a deep dive into something really exciting, I think, and definitely critical and sustainable building, a LEED D5. Specifically, its groundbreaking approach to planning for zero waste operations.
Wow.
We've been digging into some key stuff from a document called LEED V5, Planejamento Paralixo Zero, and it really lays out the whole framework for this, well, this big shift in how we handle resources in buildings.
And it's important to stress this isn't just, more green buzzwords. LED V5 is the latest evolution. It's pushing the boundaries.
Right.
And what we're focusing on today, this prerequisite MRp1, what makes serious waste planning totally non-negotiable if you want that LED stamp.
Non-negotiable, that's the key word.
Absolutely. It's not an optional extra credit you can aim for. It's fundamental, foundational. Any building going for LEV has to do this.
Wow.
It basically elevates waste planning from like a nice to have to a core part of sustainable design and operation. It's baked right in.
So our mission today, what is it?
Our mission is really to unpack how LEV5 guides everyone involved, architects, developers, operators, towards, well, minimizing waste as much as humanly possible, from the drawing board right through to the daily life of the building.
Okay.
We'll look at the specific requirements, the thinking behind them, and maybe most importantly, why this change is so crucial for the planet, for all of us.
Before we dive deeper into the nitty-gritty of all this waste management in these high-performance buildings, just a quick note. If you're finding these insights valuable and you want more shortcuts to being well-informed about sustainability, innovation, all that good stuff, make sure to subscribe to the deep dive wherever you get your podcasts. You really won't want to miss what we uncover next in this whole world of sustainable innovation. All right, so let's unpack this key part of LED V5. We're in the materials and resources category. Right?
Correct. Materials and resources.
And specifically this prerequisite, MRp1. Now, you said prerequisite, and that word itself just screams importance, doesn't it? It's not a suggestion.
It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
And that prerequisite, that's the whole point. It means it's required, mandatory.
Okay.
You literally cannot get LED V5 certification without nailing MRP1. It's not like those optional credits where you get points for doing something extra. This is baseline.
A baseline commitment.
Exactly. It's a clear message from the U.S. Green Building Council saying, look, going forward, truly green buildings must deal with waste proactively, systematically.
And, thinking about it, waste disposal isn't cheap for buildings, is it?
Not at all. It could be a huge operational cost. Tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, depending on the building size, what goes on inside it.
Right.
So by making waste planning a prerequisite, LED is basically forcing developers and owners to think about operational efficiency and resource stewardship right from day one.
Which could actually save money long term.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
By diverting waste, reducing how often haulers need to come. It makes financial sense, too. It's a fundamental commitment just to get in the door for certification.
So it's not just about being green. It has real financial teeth for building owners. Now, the intent section of MRP1, it paints the big picture.
Yeah.
It talks about reducing waste from occupants, cutting down what goes to landfills and incinerators through reduction, reuse, recycling, agitation. It sounds huge.
It is huge, and the purpose behind it is profound. When you connect it to the bigger picture, these goals, reduction, reuse, recycling, they're not just about managing trash in isolation. Fundamentally, the text says it's about conserving natural resources for future generations.
Ah, okay. So that's the ultimate why.
That's the ultimate why. It marks a real philosophical shift away from that old linear model. Take, make, dispose.
Yeah.
Extract resources, make something, use it briefly, throw it away.
The standard throwaway culture.
Exactly. Instead, LED V5 is mandating a much more circular economy approach, where waste is minimized, things are reused, resources are kept in the loop for as long as possible. A bit like a natural ecosystem, really. And by embedding this right from the earliest design phases, LED is saying buildings aren't just structures. They're active players in a bigger ecological system.
Yeah.
They have to be designed to have minimal negative impact.
That's a powerful idea, minimizing impact on finite
It
resources.
really is. And think about the scale. Global resource extraction has more than tripled since 1970. Tripled. So shifting to circular models, like Sully promotes, the potential is massive. Some studies suggest we could cut primary resource use by nearly 30%, greenhouse gases by almost 50%, just by optimizing these loops.
That's incredible potential.
So it begs the question, right? How does a building actually set itself up for that kind of success, knowing its long-term impact?
And just to clarify, this isn't just about the mountain of waste generated during construction, right? Which is a whole other issue.
A huge issue, yes, but addressed elsewhere in LEED.
Well, okay. So MRP1 is specifically focused on the day-to-day operations once people are actually in the building, living, working.
Precisely. The intent explicitly focuses on waste generated by building occupants. It aims to set the building up for success in pursuing zero-waste operations.
Right, so it's forward-looking.
Very much so. It anticipates the entire operational life cycle, decades, potentially. It ensures the initial design makes ongoing sustainable practices easier. So the infrastructure, the systems, even the sort of operational culture are geared from day one towards minimizing the waste people produce daily.
Lunch wrappers, coffee cups, office paper, all that stuff.
All of it. It's about baking sustainability in, not trying to bolt it on later when it's way more expensive and disruptive. It acknowledges that a building's footprint is ongoing.
Now, that phrase, zero waste operations, it's pretty bold, aspirational. When we hear zero, we tend to think absolute nothing. Is that what it really means in LEV5? Or is it more nuanced?
That's a really good question, and yeah, it's a common point of confusion. Absolute zero waste. In a busy, occupied building, that's incredibly hard, almost utopian, you might say.
Okay.
So in the context of LEV5, it signifies a really rigorous, sustained commitment to minimize what gets sent to landfill or incineration. It's not necessarily about hitting absolute zero, but getting as close as possible through smart design and diligent operation.
So striving towards zero.
Exactly. Striving. It's about designing systems, educating users to prevent waste at the source, thinking about what even comes into the building in the first place.
Upstream thinking.
Right. And then maximizing reuse, capturing all possible recyclables. Everything from food scraps for composting to old electronics.
This sounds holistic, integrated.
It has to be. It starts with architectural decisions about where waste goes, how it's stored, and it extends to every single person interacting with the building. Fostering a culture where waste isn't just trash, it's a resource that's been mismanaged.
So, for someone designing or operating a building, what does this really mean in practice? It sounds like a complete rethink of how you even see waste. Not a problem, but a resource.
That's the core shift. Waste isn't an afterthought. It's not just, oh, we need to hire a bigger dumpster.
Right.
It becomes a core consideration. In the infrastructure, the operational planning, the occupant engagement strategy, waste streams are treated like valuable materials to be managed and diverted, not just refused.
How does that change the design?
Profoundly. It influences everything. The layout of waste chutes, collection rooms, the type of signage, the training for staff and tenants. It means integrating waste management as seamlessly as, say, the plumbing or electrical systems.
So you might actually see.
You might see dedicated bays in waste rooms for each material type. Maybe digital displays showing how well the building is doing on diversion rates. On-site compackers or ballers to handle volume efficiently. It's about making waste management intentional, visible, integrated.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, the specifics. The requirements kick off with something that sounds simple. Storage and collection of recyclables. But I'm guessing it's more complex than just putting out blue bins.
Oh, much more. A key part is the emphasis on dedicated areas accessible to waste haulers, janitorial staff, and building occupants. Accessibility is crucial.
For everyone involved?
Exactly. It's not just about having a space, it's about strategic placement. Think about the whole process, the flow. If a recycling bin is hidden away where occupants can't find it,
They won't use it.
or if the main collection area is a nightmare for janitors to access or impossible for the waste truck, the whole system falls apart.
Right. So design directly impacts compliance and efficiency.
Absolutely. And the guidelines also offer flexibility. They say collection and storage areas may be separate locations if that works better for the building's layout.
So you could have convenient drop-off points.
Exactly. Smaller, user-friendly collection spots throughout the building, maybe feeding into a larger central storage area that's easy for haulers but less visible to the public. It allows for smart architectural solutions.
Especially in tight urban spaces, maybe.
Definitely. You might see smart chutes that sort waste automatically, or compactors to reduce volume, all designed to maximize limited space while ensuring convenience and efficiency.
So it's really about thinking through the entire journey of that piece of waste for everyone who touches it, not just a box on a floor plan.
Precisely. The human element and the practical logistics are paramount.
Now, this next bit is crucial for anyone wondering, okay, what exactly do we need to recycle? The list of required materials seems pretty extensive. It's way beyond just paper and cans.
It is. The mandate is very clear and comprehensive. Recyclable materials must include organics food waste.
Okay, that's a big one.
Huge. Then mixed paper, corrugated cardboard, glass, plastics, and metals. This broad list ensures that a whole range of common waste streams get addressed systematically, things often missed in basic programs.
Yeah, many older systems might just do paper and maybe cans and bottles.
Right. LED V5 demands a much more sophisticated approach. Managing mixed paper needs different bins and processes than glass, which is heavy and breaks, or plastics, which come in so many types.
True.
It reflects a modern holistic view of what makes up building waste, pushing beyond basic recycling to capture a much bigger slice of the pie, critical for getting anywhere near zero waste.
And this comprehensive list is required everywhere. Or is there wiggle room?
It's the standard requirement, unless local conditions dictate otherwise, which, as you said, is a smart adaptation.
Allows for real-world variations.
Exactly. It offers a practical concession. Mixed recyclables are acceptable for paper, corrugated cardboard, glass, plastics, and metals if required by local conditions.
So single stream is okay if that's how the local facility works?
Precisely. It acknowledges that recycling infrastructure varies massively. Some places have advanced sorting facilities and prefer single stream. Others need source separation because their systems are simpler, or they need cleaner materials for market.
Right.
This flexibility means buildings can comply with LED and work smoothly with local waste services. It boosts the chances of success without watering down the main goal, divert waste from landfill. It avoids a rigid, one-size-fits-all approach that might fail locally.
Okay, this next point really seems to underline the forward-thinking aspect of Lady D5. It says, space for the storage of organics food waste recycling is required even if service is not available at the time of building occupancy.
That's really planning ahead, isn't it? Like anticipating future services.
It's absolutely fascinating and incredibly strategic. You might ask, why mandate space for a service that doesn't even exist yet in that area?
Yeah, what? It's visionary. It prevents really expensive and disruptive retrofits later on. Imagine building something today, and 5 years down the line, the city finally launches a food waste composting program. But you have nowhere to put the bins.
Nightmare scenario.
Totally. This requirement ensures that as local infrastructure evolves, and it is evolving, more cities are adding composting, the building is ready. You can seamlessly integrate these new waste streams.
So it's future-proofing.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, buildings aren't just meeting today's standards, they're ready for tomorrow's. That shows true resilience, real foresight in environmental planning. It anticipates a future where organic waste is a valuable resource, not just trash.
And it's not just the everyday food scraps getting this future-proof treatment. There's also a specific and vital mention of hazardous waste. That feels like a whole different ballgame.
Utterly critical. The requirement to take appropriate measures for the safe collection, storage, and disposal of batteries, mercury-containing lamps, and electronic waste, it's paramount.
Why these items specifically?
Because they pose significant environmental and health risks if they just get tossed in the regular trash. Batteries leak toxic heavy metals. Mercury lamps, if broken, release harmful mercury vapor. E-waste is this complex mix, valuable metals like gold, sure, but also hazardous stuff like lead, cadmium, flame retardants.
Things you definitely don't want leaching into groundwater from a landfill.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
Ignoring these contaminants, landfills, harms ecosystems, risks human health. So this requirement forces a responsible end-to-end approach for all waste types, not just the easy stuff. It demands careful handling, dedicated storage, and disposal through specialized, safe channels.
It underscores a really comprehensive view of stewardship.
It does. Buildings generate a lot of this stuff. Or computers, fluorescent bulbs from lighting upgrades. You need clear protocols and safe storage.
So putting it all together for designers and builders, it sounds like they need a really detailed plan. They have to think about literally every single item that might get thrown away in that building eventually and figure out how it'll be handled safely, efficiently, and thinking ahead.
That's exactly it. It means developing a truly comprehensive, detailed waste management plan for every conceivable waste stream, right from the start.
Wow.
It goes way beyond just marking a recycling room on the plans. It's understanding the waste types, anticipating future streams like organics, finding partners for hazardous waste, designing the infrastructure, the protocols, the educational materials, everything needed to manage it all responsibly.
Designing a building that actually helps people live a zero-waste lifestyle within it.
Essentially, yes. Thinking through the
Fair
whole
enough.
life cycle of materials.
Yeah.
And it requires collaboration architects, engineers, waste consultants, maybe even future facility managers, all talking early in the design phase.
Okay, so you've designed the spaces, you've got the bins, the plan for hazardous waste, but making sure it actually works day to day for years, that's another challenge.
Well,
MRP1 has a whole section on zero waste operations planning. What's involved there beyond the physical setup? This sounds like strategy, not just hardware.
it is. This is absolutely where the rubber meets the road. And you're right, it moves beyond just physical infrastructure to, well, codified operational strategy and, really importantly, knowledge transfer.
Knowledge transfer.
Yeah. It mandates including design details, maintenance manuals, and other resources from the design and construction team. And these aren't just generic manuals. They have to be specifically created to help facilitate building occupants and operators to meet high-performance waste prevention and recycling goals once in operation.
So the why and how from the design phase doesn't get lost.
Exactly. It ensures that critical knowledge and the original intent get formally documented and passed on to the people who will actually use and manage the building every day. Because without that, the best design system can fail. People just don't know how to use it properly.
Right. Lack of understanding, unclear procedures.
It happens all the time. So this isn't just about the building itself, but the whole operational ecosystem around it. Ensuring that continuity of purpose, making sure the sustainability vision translates into sustained action.
So these resources might include, what, flowcharts?
Could be detailed flow charts for different waste streams, maybe instructions for seasonal adjustments for composting if they have it, contact lists for specialized disposal companies. Real practical stuff.
So it's basically like providing a detailed user manual for achieving zero waste in that specific building. A playbook for everyone.
That's a great way to put it, a playbook. It ensures the design intent becomes actionable guidance. It prevents great infrastructure from being underused or misused because nobody understands it.
Bridging the gap between the architect's vision and the janitor's daily routine.
Precisely. Making the abstract idea of zero waste concrete and achievable for the people on the ground. The janitorial staff sorting, the facility managers handling contracts, the occupants generating the waste. This documentation becomes a living guide.
And it needs to be detailed, right? Like specific sorting instructions.
Absolutely. Visual aids are great. Cleaning protocols for the waste areas. Troubleshooting guides for equipment like compactors. Everything to make it work smoothly.
Now, the language specifically calls out building occupants and operators. Why focus on both? They have pretty different roles in the waste process.
That's a sharp observation, and the dual focus is essential. They're both indispensable, and their roles, though different, are totally interdependent.
How so?
Well, occupants are the main waste generators. Their daily habits, how well they understand the sorting system, their commitment to preventing waste in the first place, that's paramount. If occupants contaminate the recycling bins, the whole effort can be ruined.
Okay, so user behavior is key.
Critical. Then you have the operators. They're the custodians of the system. They manage the logistics, maintain equipment, empty bins, deal with haulers. They make sure it all functions smoothly behind the scenes, fixing overflowing bins, dealing with breakdowns.
Got it. So the planning needs to empower both.
Exactly. Occupants need clear, easy-to-grasp info on how to sort and reduce. Operators need practical guides on how to manage the system efficiently, safely, effectively, troubleshoot problems, track performance. It's a team effort needing clear communication and tools tailored for each group.
It really sounds like a successful zero-waste strategy hangs heavily on human behavior, understanding clear instructions, maybe even more than the fancy bins or tech.
You've absolutely nailed it. That's a crucial takeaway. The most advanced systems, the most impressive infrastructure. It can all fail without informed, engaged users and diligent managers.
You can have the best bins, but if people don't know what goes where.
Exactly. Or if the staff aren't trained on the schedule or procedures, the infrastructure is basically wasted. The human element, often the most critical variable in hitting those high-performance sustainability goals.
Makes sense.
That's why LEED V5 puts so much emphasis on education and actionable guidance, not just physical specs. Sustainable buildings ultimately need sustainable people operating within them. I remember one project where we slashed landfill waste just by using clear color coding and doing quick weekly reminders for occupants. Sometimes it's the simple human touches that make the biggest impact.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. There's a specific section, a carve-out, for core and shell only projects. What makes those projects different? Why do they need special handling for waste planning? Sounds tricky.
Yeah, core and shell projects pose a unique challenge. A critical aspect here is that you're building the main structure, the envelope, the core systems, but the interior tenant spaces often aren't fitted out yet.
Right, they come later, fitted out by the tenants themselves.
Exactly. And as the source material points out, core and shell project teams may have limited influence on how the final tenant space is fitted out. The building owner or developer doesn't control the specifics of tenant A's office layout versus tenant B's retail setup or tenant C's residential unit design.
And all those different setups generate different types and amounts of waste.
Precisely. So the base building owner doesn't directly control much of the operational waste generation happening within those individual tenant spaces. This lack of direct control means you need a different strategy to ensure the entire property meets those zero waste goals.
So how do you ensure building-wide goals are met if you can't dictate what happens inside each tenant space? Seems like a big potential loophole.
This is where the tenant guidelines become absolutely essential. They're the key tool.
Okay.
Since you can't always mandate things directly, these guidelines act as a vital communication and education bridge. They're designed to help tenant design teams understand and design features to achieve significant reductions in waste generation.
So it's about influence and partnership, not direct orders.
Exactly. Education, influence, partnership. It respects the tenant's autonomy while guiding them towards the building's shared sustainability goals. They provide a framework so tenants can integrate their own waste management seamlessly with the building's overall strategy.
Making sure the building's core systems get used effectively by everyone.
Right. It's about fostering a culture of stewardship that extends across the whole property, not just in the common areas the landlord controls.
So rather than telling tenants exactly what to do, you empower them with the knowledge and best practices to make responsible choices themselves that align with the building's aims. It's kind of clever, that indirect approach.
It is quite clever and often more effective in the long run. It makes tenants active partners in the mission, not just, rule followers.
Gives them ownership.
Precisely. It provides the why and how so they can make informed decisions for their own fit-outs and operations that align with the building's environmental goals. From how they design their break room waste stations to their purchasing policies, it's a nuanced way to get widespread compliance in a multi-tenant building,
Fosters shared responsibility, builds community around the goal.
which can be far more powerful and lasting than just top-down rules, especially when direct control is limited.
So what kind of specific, actionable stuff needs to be in these tenant guidelines to make them effective? They sound like they need to be pretty comprehensive to really work.
They absolutely do. They need to provide clear, actionable information that outlines the building's waste management system and encourages responsible waste disposal practices. The source gets quite specific.
Like what?
Okay, they should definitely include details on the waste collection and disposal collection area, where tenants take their stuff, how the building system works. Crucially, they need to detail waste minimization initiatives, giving tenants ideas on how to prevent waste in the first place. Reusables, packaging reduction, durable goods.
Proactive stuff.
Exactly. Then practical things like the waste pickup schedule for operational clarity. Training materials are essential guides, maybe videos, visuals for proper sorting, and finally, contact information, so tenants know who to call if they have questions or need support.
So it's a complete roadmap.
Pretty much. A
Okay.
complete roadmap so tenants can integrate seamlessly leaves very little to chance or assumption.
So a tenant knows exactly where waste goes, how to reduce it, when it gets picked up, and who to call for help. That sounds incredibly thorough. Makes it hard for anyone to plead ignorance.
It does. And that clarity is absolutely vital. It ensures tenants remain informed about the building systems and their responsibilities.
Fosters that shared responsibility you mentioned.
Exactly. In a multi-tenant building, that's crucial. It turns potential challenges, like tenants doing their own thing or not understanding, into opportunities for collaboration. It helps everyone become an active participant in hitting those building-wide zero-waste goals.
And clear guidelines can probably be referenced in leases, too.
Often they are. It sets a transparent expectation without being overly prescriptive about every detail of their business.
Okay, so ultimately, how do all these individual tenant actions, guided by these guidelines, add up? How do they collectively contribute to the building's main LEED V5 zero waste objective? It's indirect, so how does it translate to a measurable impact?
Well, If we connect it back to the bigger picture, by empowering all those tenants with detailed, actionable info, the core and shell project can achieve significant waste reduction across the whole property, even without that direct control.
It's a ripple effect.
A powerful ripple effect. Think about it. Tenant design choices, like using recycled materials in their fit-out or designing efficient sorting stations in their own space, that directly contributes, and then their daily operations, following the guidelines. It all adds up.
So the indirect influence works.
It proves it can be incredibly effective. Clear communication, education, collaboration. It fosters that building-wide culture of sustainability. And a result, higher overall diversion rates for the whole building, lower operational costs, and ultimately a stronger LEED certification for the core and shell project itself, which makes the building more valuable.
That is a really smart, effective way to extend influence without heavy-handed control. Building community around that shared goal. Makes you wonder, what does this imply for sustainable building beyond just waste? Could this approach work elsewhere? We've definitely covered a lot today, from the dedicated recycling spots and handling hazmat waste to that detailed operational planning and even those crucial tenant guidelines for core and shell. It's a really comprehensive framework. Let's just circle back one more time to the core intent of MRP1. What's the main takeaway from all these intricate rules?
You know, what's fascinating, or maybe surprising, is how all those tiny granular details separating organics, planning for future services, writing manuals, crafting tenant guidelines, how they all converge on that one powerful intent we talked about earlier, to reduce the amount of waste that is generated and to conserve natural resources for future generations.
It all points back to that.
Every single detail. It's really a testament to how meticulous planning at the building level connects directly to hitting those big global environmental and resource goals.
Yeah.
Every mandated guideline, every proactive design choice, it's all part of this larger picture of ecological responsibility.
No, it's not just about trash management.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's about fundamentally rethinking our relationship with resources, with consumption, through the lens of the buildings we live and work in. It's fostering that circular economy model we discussed. It really shows a deeply ethical, forward-thinking approach, setting a clear, actionable path.
And when we talk about conserving resources for future generations, what does that look like, tangibly? Long-term impact. What are these LEED requirements really trying to achieve decades from now?
That's a really important question, thinking about those long-term ripples. It goes way beyond just less stuff in landfills.
Right.
By diverting huge amounts of waste, yes, we cut pollution. We minimize methane from rotting organics, which is a potent greenhouse gas. We reduce pollutants getting into air and soil. But more fundamentally, we lessen the relentless demand for virgin materials.
Taking less out of the earth.
Exactly. Conserving finite resources, minerals, timber, fossil fuels. Think about the energy savings, too. Recycling aluminum saves 95% of the energy needed to make it from raw ore. Plastics, up to 70%.
Huge energy savings.
Massive. It cuts the energy used for extraction, processing, manufacturing new goods, and by needing fewer new mines, quarries, logging sites, it reduces habitat destruction, protects biodiversity.
So it's interconnected. Environment, resources, energy, biodiversity.
It's all connected. It's a proactive, multi-generational step towards a built environment that respects the planet's limits, preserving the Earth's capacity to support life for decades, centuries to come.
So final thoughts. What does this all mean for the wider industry? Construction, design, real estate. Are these LEED V5 requirements really setting a new benchmark? Pushing the industry forward, forcing innovation.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the bigger picture, LEED V5 MRP1 is a prime example of how these green building certifications continuously push the envelope. They drive innovation.
Yeah, so?
By making comprehensive forward-looking waste management a required prerequisite, not an optional extra, it forces all projects aiming for LEED to integrate these advanced practices right from the start, from day one of conception and design.
No longer an afterthought.
Exactly. It forces critical thinking. It challenges design teams to come up with creative, integrated solutions for waste prevention, reduction, resource efficiency. It's not just giving a checklist. It's compelling a deeper, systemic approach.
Prompting new ideas.
Yes. Pushing architects towards modular design for easier deconstruction later, pushing manufacturers towards take-back programs for their products, incentivizing waste haulers to offer a better recycling and composting services. It ultimately raises the bar for what we consider a responsible, sustainable building in the 21st century. It's setting a new paradigm.
A new paradigm for how we build, operate, and even think about waste itself. It definitely sounds like a crucial step, a vital shortcut perhaps, to being well informed about how modern buildings are fighting back against, well, literal waste overload.
Wow.
That was quite the deep dive into LEED V5 and the really meticulous planning that goes into aiming for zero waste operations. It's incredible, actually, seeing the level of detail, the foresight, the collaboration needed to make buildings operate responsibly, sustainably. Definitely makes me look at the bins in my office differently.
A critical aspect here is how those seemingly dry technical details about waste management in LEED V5 actually reveal this deeply ethical, forward-thinking philosophy about how we should design and live in our built environment. It sets a clear path,
Hmm.
and it raises an important question maybe for you to think about later. How could these comprehensive principles we've discussed, reducing, reusing, recycling, planning ahead, educating everyone, how could they extend beyond just buildings, into our daily lives, our communities, maybe even into how we plan whole cities? Could it transform how we view consumption and waste everywhere?
That is a fantastic thought to chew on. Really makes you reconsider waste in your own home, your own neighborhood. Excellent point. And that wraps up our deep dive into LED V5 zero waste operations. Thanks so much for joining us on this, well, illuminating exploration. And hey, if you've enjoyed this exploration and want to stay informed on the cutting edge of sustainability, innovation, and so much more, make sure you subscribe to the deep dive wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back soon with more insights to help you navigate this complex, always changing world and give you that essential shortcut to being well informed. Until next time.